Hi everyone. So first of all, hi. You can see my face. This is not something we do anymore usually. Why is my camera so dark? I had this fixed. Why does it hate me? Anyway, welcome guys to something I never thought I was ever gonna say in my life, but welcome to my first book release. Uh this is not something I ever thought was gonna happen. As you guys can see, we are outside. We are currently at my mother-in-law's condo because they are currently doing construction next door at my apartment. And the last thing you guys need to hear while listening to me talk is the sound of construction and grossness. So yeah. So we be out here. Why does my white balance keep getting fucky? Screw it. It's good enough. We're outside. It's not going to be... It's...
The connection is held as well as us.
It's not the connection that I'm worried about. It's the fact that the light balance is absolutely awful out here.
It'll change in about 10 minutes.
Yeah, so, gonna let our ad break finish here real quick. For those of you who aren't stuck with ads, how are you doing today? Camera's over here this time, not over here. My setup is so different from at home. I'm so used to turning to the right to talk to the camera. Yeah, so,
We risked overheating.
we've had a couple of scuffs happen. Almost thought our webcam died. It didn't, thankfully, but it almost did. Hello, Cozy. How are you? Much love, honey. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, so I guess we'll just, in the next 5-ish seconds here, we'll get right into it. My God, this is, not gonna lie, it still feels really surreal. Like, I'm afraid I'm gonna wake up home and realize all this setup, all this headache, this screaming at my computer, all of it was just a nightmare of how things could go horribly wrong, because that's how it always works, right? But no, welcome everybody. For many of you who do know me, I am Q of Q Cosplay, or as many also know me, Cameron Nichols Ryn, recently published author. Like, literally 2 days ago, published. Officially today, unofficially, I got the copies a couple days ago. But yeah, so, this is my first ever book. For some explanation, the idea for this originally came to me during quarantine. My uncle, may he rest in peace, he and I were pretty much the same brain cell. Uncle Tony and I were absolute nut jobs. If you were here with my channel back during the quarantine days, he was the one who always come into voice chat when we were playing Faz and stuff and screw with us. It was great. It was a fun time. And then when I came up with the idea for what was originally going to be like maybe a 2 or a 3-part webcomic, evolved, and then it was like, oh, well, maybe it'll go from webcomic to an actual webtoon. Maybe I'll turn it into a full-blown, like, comic graphic novel or something, and then I realized how much work that is. Hello, Vash, you're just in time. We're just going over the backstory of how the book came to be. Also, guys, later on, if I ignore the chat, it is not intentional. My mods are here for a reason, to make sure that you guys are still being engaged with and everything, but I'm gonna be a little bit busy for a little bit here. But, yeah, so my uncle and I started talking, and eventually I decided I was going to turn it into a small novella kind of thing. And then my uncle passed away unexpectedly. I was actually out shopping for formal wear stuff for my drag competition that I was doing when I got the call that he had passed away. And it hit me hard, I'm not going to lie. I kind of shut myself away for a couple of months. Couple years almost, give or take, depending on who you talk to. But I struggled a lot with my mental health through all of that. I almost abandoned this project completely, and finally, after meeting a digital cow, love her. By the way, if you guys haven't yet, please go follow Cow. She is so amazing. We love the herd mother. Also follow my mods; they are also awesome, and follow everybody in chat because you know what? Fuck it, we follow everybody here. With that being said, after meeting Cow and having a lot, and I mean a lot of downtime for my top surgery back in November, I decided to say screw it and finally just buckle down and do it. I buckled down and I was like, oh, I'll be happy if I get like, a 350 page book out of this. Word dumping happened. Lots of word vomiting happened. And 513 pages later, I wasn't expecting this book to explode like it did. I was not expecting this book to take off and become this big old tome. But I'm really, really glad that I got to go on this journey with y'all. Like, Stella, Pinchy, what the fuck was that?
Sprinklers.
Oh my god, I forgot your parents have sprinklers out here. Oh my Jesus. New achievement unlocked. Q, jump scared by sprinklers. Anyway. See,
it's just barely out of the direct path.
we have... Are you comfortable with that or no?
Yeah, no, we're fine.
We have an otter
Stop.
hiding in the corner. The geese are back. Where the fuck is that asshole?
Over there.
And it's the same one that tried to fight me last time, too. Sorry, there is a goose that lives in my mother-in-law's neighborhood that I swear has a vendetta against me. But anyway, so yeah, just a disclosure. I am not saying this because I want to. I'm saying this because my supplier is an asshole. If you ordered the paperback, I am so sorry. But it's almost 2 weeks late in getting to me. I'm still tracking them down. As soon as I have answers as to where the paperback copies end up, you will have them, I promise. I'm so sorry if you've ordered a paperback copy and I'm not able to sign it for you on stream. Once they come in, I will be doing a secondary stream and I will be emailing each of you who ordered a paperback personally so that you can tune in and ask your questions and stuff if you have more, anything like that, because I feel so terrible. I know I can't control how the supplier does things, but y'all shouldn't have to wait for your shit because my supplier may or may not have something to do with somebody whose name may not be part of a Bo Burnham song. So yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and dig right into the fun part of all of this. We have some signing to do first. Where's my handy dandy cheat list? Aha! I was smart. I wrote it down. Haha!
Keeps progressively getting closer.
Bro, you wanna fucking square up, bro? You wanna square up? I'll fight a goose on stream, I don't care. Let's go. I have a vendetta against geese. When I was a kid, I was cornered and almost drowned by a goose. I was like 4 years old and this goose tried to drown me. So, unfortunately, we are only going to be able to get to our hardbacks today.
You have a Sharpie, by the way?
No, why do you think I brought all the pens? Because I don't own a single regular Sharpie.
Why don't we own Sharpies?
I don't know.
Does Dad have Sharpies?
Do you want to go look?
Yeah.
Because, like, I can use the pens here. I just don't know.
Pelted with fucking water.
It's 105 out. Are you really going to bitch about that? Oh, no, your steak is too juicy.
No, I have boots on and I can't feel it.
Oh, no, your steak is too juicy. I love my wife. I really do. If we don't tease each other, we think the other is mad, and... So, yeah, Oh, you want a glitter pen for yours? Okay, so sign with a glitter pen. I do have some glitter pens, but the problem is that they're the cheap ones, and they like to skip line breaks a lot. But I will say that everybody who got a pre-order bonus, and some special people who did some extra stuff behind me on the scenes, are getting little thank you notes from the cafe in our book. And if you look on the back, all of the cast members, well, I say cast members because we're part of a maid cafe and we do cast members, but all of the employees of the Silver Thread Cafe, which is the main cafe in our book, signed this note for you guys. There's one from our favorite little pixie, there's our favorite gnome, our dwarf dad, our dark elf dad, our poor high elf who really needs an adult, and our man whore of a vampire, his words, not mine. So if there is a chance you could get one of these as well. So, like, keep it out if you order it online, or if you order the versions that need a signature. Does that work? Yeah, we need to order one more hardback because I forgot to Drago order 2. But that's easy fix.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, so we'll just... Hannah knows hers is going to be a little bit late.
Okay.
So I'll just reorder hers. Yeah, because we had the one for your mom. And I don't want to... like have your mom wait when she's literally right there. Okay. Does it work?
Yeah, it does work. I'm saying here for under.
Oh, I was trying to translate. My brain was not keeping up.
Yeah, that's for under, and that is the first name. It's that.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I was confused as to what you were jotting down there. So this first one goes to actually a very loving and very close friend of my wife's, Tiana Wren, and it's one N.
Yeah. Hang on. Does he not have the flash on? Welcome back.
Hello, friends. We have ducks behind us. Maybe if you get lucky, you'll see. Oh,
No, the geese is right there.
Wait, where is he?
He's right there.
Y'all, the goose that I have beef with. Just, I can't see him. Heck.
There he is.
Yeah,
Right there.
that little bastard. That goose in the middle of the river. That fucker has it out for me. I swear to God. Anyway. So let's see. Alright, we were doing Tiana. Tiana Wren. To Tiana Wren, you always... And...
I have the camera too, like the camera.
Yeah, Otter's having fun with the photography side of things.
These pictures are turning out great, actually. Hi, Hellcat.
Hello, Hellcat. How are you? Oh no, that goose and we've had beef for like 2 years since he moved in to the area.
There was also like a nest right here. You can see the remnants of it. Do you have the cards already ready?
Yep, they're already ready and labeled and good to go.
Cool.
You know Ren better, so I will let you pick the bookmarks for them.
Oh, did you already choose my mom's?
Yeah, I told you I was picking the sun and the moon and the star for her.
Right.
Because they were like the least, unless you wanted to give her a different one.
I was just wondering.
I tucked them aside so they wouldn't get mixed up in the chaos.
That one?
And there we go. First one signed. This one's ready to get shipped off to California, I believe.
Yep, the Bay Area.
Yeah. So, Tiana's is ready to go.
Right, where's the card?
The stacks are all under here. Theirs is on top. I didn't realize it was Tiana Wren, otherwise I would have put that on the folder, on the envelope, but I'm sure they'll understand.
Yeah.
Do you like how oh yeah, by the way, Cow, I wanted to show you this because I'm very proud of this. Do you like how the staff at the Silver Thread Cafe signed your card for you? They wanted to make it special for you, Cow. Oh, great herd mother. Love you. I had to tease. But yeah, unfortunately, if you have a fun stream. Thank you so much, Vash. I believe you ordered one, so as soon as it's ready.
I don't think so.
I think it was under Xavier. Or was it somebody else?
Maybe it's someone else.
Either way, if anybody ordered a book, they will be shipped out later this week. The only reason I'm holding off is because I have to go pick up boxes. The ones I got were damaged and can't be shipped with, unfortunately, and they won't... If they can't read the barcode, they won't give you the flat rate price. It's so stupid. Oh, next up we have Adela. Miss Della Crew.
There we go. For now, they'll go on the inside.
That's what I've been doing, is just putting them in there because it also keeps me from getting damaged during shipping. Is it getting closer?
No.
Oh, you bastard. Watch it. I know how to cook goose.
He's just going by the camera.
This motherfucker, the audacity of this bitch. And he's stopping to pose.
Hi, friend. Are you friend?
You want to square up, scrub?
Oh god.
Asshole.
They fucking fight.
You wanna fucking go? You're not a flamingo, asshole. Fucking dick.
I'm sorry. What's up? Could you politely not? Oh, there's a bug coming in. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, friend. Let's go. Has passed. And the goose is back in the water. He was trying to avoid it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, goose, I'm caged and hungry. That's a mood.
Valid. Okay, I think it was somebody else who has a very similar name to you that ordered one that threw me off. I apologize. But either way, I hope you have a good time, Vash.
The next one is for Dylan.
Mm-hmm.
I know exactly at least one of them. And we have other stuff to sell to send to Della after.
Yeah, no, that's... I still have to send her vampire posterettes. Absolutely, I think that one's perfect, especially considering her character's a devilkin and Crafter's is a celestialkin. Yeah, Crafter's is celestial.
Oh, but I chose the perfect one.
You really did. Like, oh, by the way, guys, if you didn't know, we got these cool, these are not my art, I wish they were, but we got these cool bookmarks. Everybody gets 2 bookmarks with their pre-order and or if they order a signed copy from the form. Basically until supplies last.
Handpicked by us.
Otter does the artsy picking, I just show up and sign it and make it look pretty. Oh, Drago and Favzi, and then we will have to order Hannah's because they fucked my order. They fucked up my order. Also, hi Ray, I apologize for ignoring you. I promise I am not ignoring you. I currently have stream going up on my Twitch and on my Insta right now. Yeah. I don't know why my stream insists on being sideways, even though my tablet is not, but yeah, I'm signing and getting ready to ship out my first book.
Let's do... I know exactly what...
Alright, Drago,
I know exactly which one I want to give.
Which one are you looking for?
It. One of each of these for them.
Uh-huh.
There it is.
Yeah, I separated them by gruesome, or by macabre and more wholesome, if that makes sense. Mostly because I didn't want... Oh, that's so perfect. That is so perfect for Drago and Favzi.
I know what I'm doing. The ducks are sticking around, though. I like them. Isn't it so sweet and cute? I love it.
Huh? What? What is?
Cow.
Oh, ye.
Unfortunately, we can't hear the sound redeems.
We cannot hear the sound alerts at this time because we currently have our PC temporarily set up on my mother-in-law's back porch. Because my neighbors were doing construction and we couldn't even, our microphone was redlining without us saying a damn thing. So, we don't have our sound system set up. We only have, like, we have the barest of essentials. We have all that. There's my Insta and there's the PC. Literally, we are on my mother-in-law's back porch.
Hi, guys.
And my camera is sitting on an ice pack because it keeps overheating.
Yes, it does.
You always
Let me adjust the camera.
been super supportive.
There we go. That's better.
They say you look so pretty.
Oh, thank you.
She doesn't listen to me. I mean, I love you, honey.
Here we go. Found them.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Lori ordered one.
Yeah, I know.
Hers just hasn't. I have to wait until she pays. That's all. Yeah, the scuff bled into the real world. Also, hi, Auntie Vang. How are you? And
It's less about that and more of the I don't have the energy to find anybody that's not cute.
one of my
It is my right as a wife
friends
to mess with you.
when
Oh, hello. Are you coming up to say hi? Guys, I'm making friends.
stop making friends with the geese.
Hi, Goose.
Don't make friends with the duck. Ducks are assholes too. Ducks are worse than geese. Do you realize ducks are war criminals?
Yeah.
What am I saying? She's an otter. The smirk I just heard come from the corner. In my own head.
Geese and I are shit. Ducks and I are cool, man.
Thank you for being so awesome. Oh hey, the drag racers are early out.
Oh, the rats are just water. You're getting snacks because they're coming up.
Alright, Dragos is ready.
Alright. I have it.
Here you go. Thank you, my love. Now to do Fopsies. And then we move on to the fun stuff, guys. Once we're done with the housekeeping, I need to turn that light off. That light, every time it goes on, is when it starts making that hissing and popping noise that makes you think it's going to explode.
Fair.
I know it's a little dark, but I would rather risk it than risk the camera exploding. Yes, that is Drago. I mean, they're both going to him, and he's going to send it to Fopsy. Congrats, happy book birthday. Yes, it's so amazing. What's that makes geese and swans?
Yes.
They are the avian equivalent of the reason we need the Geneva Conventions. We should probably close our all the way. Everyone just get mad about the AC. Oh shit. I just noticed that. I didn't see anything. You're good. But yeah, no, never thought I was gonna have a book birthday. I always thought that I was gonna... I lost my little pagey page.
Are there lights over here?
Are there? There's the LEDs around the door.
Yeah, but then I'd have to unplug something.
Is there? There's a porch light.
There is a porch light.
I don't know your mom's condo. Your mom knows your mom's condo.
Exactly. How's that?
It works. Unless you want to move... Oh, the sign has so many nopes on it.
I'm not touching that shit.
So I say you can move that sign, and I just looked and see nothing but cobwebs, and I'm just like, on second thought, I didn't see shit.
We don't know anything.
Alright, and now we need to sign to Fopsy. I closed my pen and tried to write with a closed Sharpie.
I've done that.
I once wrote half of a bug report that was supposed to be turned in physically to our developers who were in office at one time with a closed pen. I wrote 3 pages with a closed pen. Consider that for your math, honey. This is why I know that I was meant to be a man. I am not smart. Never say never. Never say never again. Hmm? That's why I was being quiet.
Yeah, we should have brought them anyway.
To be fair, we've never had to move our setup for one setup before. Usually when we have to move everything, it's all together. Okay, I could probably turn on a tiny bit now. Okay, it's not making noise. We're good for now. I think the ice pack is helping. I can't believe I have to ice pack my fucking camera. The joys of Phoenix, right? We want him to live here, honey.
Hold on.
It's not frozen.
No,
What were you looking at?
I was listening.
Oh, I just have an instrumental playing on my phone. Because the lack of background noise. Positive and a strong
I'm gonna check the...
heart when... And there we go. Last one signed. I ordered these 2 weeks ago. They were supposed to be here. Time for me to sign all of them. Oh my god, we have a raid? What? Oh my god, we have a raid. Holy shit. Hi, raiders. Oh my god. I don't have my raid alert up, but that's okay. Disco raid, let's go.
Should probably turn the light on.
I'm turning on bit by bit because if it goes too high, it will make that noise and explode. No noise? We're good. Okay, guys. Hi. Welcome in, Raiders. Oh my gosh. Can we get a shouty for Prince of Chaos in chat when we have a second there? Yeah, welcome in, guys. For all you Raiders, we literally just finished signing the last of our current load of pre-ordered copies of my first ever book. I never thought I would say it out loud, and to quote, you know, to quote the one and only Digital Cow, never say never, Fievel. Also, thank you, Arcades, so much. But yeah, guys, you are here just in time. We literally just finished the signing, and according to our schedule, because I was smart and I did a schedule for this,
Type in just exclamation schedule.
We are just about to go into the introduction of the book itself. So, if you have any questions, there is... We're only a little behind schedule, but I blame the goose. And the scuff. But mostly the goose. Because I wanted to fight that goose. Anyway, so yeah, we're going to do a very brief introduction to the book. We are slightly behind schedule, but that's only because scuff happened. So yeah, this is the first in a series called the Saela Saga. It is going to be one of many different stories in the world of Saela that I have created. So the world of Saela is a modern day high fantasy, very much like I'm trying to think of the best way to explain it. Take D&D, take Friends, take How I Met Your Mother, take all those like sitcoms and you know, like the drama shows and everything, all the modern day dramas and shit, just shove them in and put elves and dwarves and shit, and that's how I came up with this. The premise is that Saela is a Pangea style world. It is just a single continent broken up into 5 sections. There are 5 sections plus the you don't have it's not actually doing anything.
It's so dark.
Unfortunately, until the sun goes all the way down, the ring light on the camera is not going to do anything. It's almost down though, so we'll be fine. Anyway, so yeah, it is a Pangea world. It is run by a group of 12 deities called the 12 Pillars. It is run as a dominion. And
you might need to move the car, I just realized.
I parked as far over as I could.
Fair.
Anyway, as I was saying, it is ruled over by 12 deities known as the 12 Pillars. There is a missing period of about 200 years of history that have to do with something known as the Missing 13th. The Missing 13th Pillar is a rumor to some, an omen to others, a cult to others. It's not much is known about the 13th in modern day history because of the fact that it's so well kept a secret. The Pillars have made it a point to hide it from every record. Hymns were changed, psalms were erased, in the course of about 100 years of history, everything having to do with the 13th Pillar was purged, and the following 100 years was just restructuring into what the 12 thought to be their ideal for what they wanted Saela to be, because they believed only they knew what was right for the world. And it has now been about 700-800 years since the War of the Great Rift, so called because a giant scar-like rift was torn through the Pangea that is Saela by Ravelost, the missing 13th Pillar, during a great war. That will be an actual book later. That I'm going to be writing a prequel series at some point covering how the Pillars came to be, how they got started and everything. And our first book here, the Saela Saga, Book 1, Threads of Silver, covers the story of the middle child of the literal most powerful family in all of Kirindel, which is kind of like the quote-unquote capital of the Pangea. It's the most populated area. It's the most developed. That's where, like, the biggest universities are. It's a hub city. Kirindel is the unofficial capital of Saela because it's where everybody goes. Like, if you're a tourist and you come to the Althrin Reach where Kirindel is, everybody tells you, oh, you gotta go to the Kirindel City Square. Oh, you gotta go visit the spires. Everything you have to do is in Kirindel. University, they got that. They have the best one in the entire world, quite literally. You want to, come and open a business, guess what? They have all kinds of permits and stuff. Like, very much Kirindel is painted to be the city where dreams are made. It's the streets of gold, how they told, back in the 20s, we're like, oh yeah, go to New York, you'll make your fortune. Unfortunately, with everything that seems too good to be true, it usually is. And what our poor protagonist, Marissa, finds out as she goes is that, unfortunately, the rose-tinted glasses ain't that great, and even though she's way more empathic and more charity-driven than her family, she still isn't quite sure just how bad things are until she finally has it one day, decides that she doesn't want Daddy's money anymore and she wants to do things the right way, the real way, and she loses everything and realizes just how hard it is to start from square one. This goes on top of a bunch of really great subplot stuff that I can't describe without spoiling the book, so if you want to know, you gotta answer the book. Your mom's home, honey. Hi, Mom. Sorry, my mother-in-law just got home.
Hi.
Anyway, so all of this follows the premise of Marissa, who is trying to struggle with her first ever real job. She's never had a job before. She's never lived on her own. She's never had to go to college. Nothing like that. She's literally had everything handed to her, even with her being the thrifty one, if you want to call it that, or the more common sense one, the more grounded one. She's never been given a chance to have to make her own way. So she's having to learn how to do that while working at a cafe, going to school full time, and navigate what she lovingly calls the normal world. So, without further ado, we are actually, looking at my times here. Oh, we are actually just on time. We're going to go ahead and start with the live reading. So, I've picked a segment that I'm actually very, very proud of. For the live reading, we're only going to be reading one chapter. And that is mostly because this book is 513 pages. I can't read the whole thing to you guys. That's like 15 hours. My voice will give out. So, I'm going to start with the foreword. And we'll work our way from there. Without further ado, welcome to the Saela Saga, Book 1, Threads of Silver. Written by Cameron Nichols Written. I can't see for shit. Okay. Some stories arrive all at once. Threads of Silver did not. It came slowly, first as atmosphere, fragments, a city of polished light and hidden seams, a girl standing before a door she was never meant to open. Long before it was a novel, it was going to be a webcomic, then maybe a small comic, something that felt less frightening to want. For a long time, I told myself to dream smaller. The story stayed anyway. What kept bringing me back was not only the world itself, but the emotional truth beneath it. This book is about survival, identity, expectation, and the cost of living inside a life that does not fit. Marissa is not me, and this is not an autobiography, but she carries echoes of the fears, pressures, and longings that shaped me in my late teens and early 20s. I wanted her to feel real, proud, wounded, hopeful, difficult, and unfinished. I wanted this story to understand that becoming yourself is rarely seen. Sometimes survival looks graceful. Sometimes it just looks like refusing to disappear. As a transgender man, I know what it is to live in the distance between the self the world can name and the self your spirit needs. That knowledge lives in this book, not as thesis, but as pulse. It lives in Marissa's hunger for a life that belongs to her, in Saela's beauty and fracture, and in the question of the heart of the story. What happens when the truth you were raised on begins to feel like a cage? Fantasy has always given me a language for questions too sharp to hold plainly. Saela became a place where grief, longing, rebellion, and devotion could wear the shape of a city. It is beautiful, polished, holy, dangerous, and beneath all of that, deeply human. No one writes a book like this alone. I'm gonna get emotional here. Sorry. My father, Colin, is a part of the quiet foundation beneath everything I have built. His love has never needed spectacle to matter. He helped shape the person who could write this book by being steady, present, and real. In a world that can feel unstable, there is grace in having someone who helps the ground hold. My wife, Luna, has loved me in the rarest way. Not as an idea, but as a whole person in the middle of becoming. She has seen the drafts, the doubts, the spirals, the exhaustion, and the hope beneath all of it. She did not make the work easy. She made it possible to keep doing. If this book has warmth in it, some of that warmth comes from being loved by her. My sister Tori has been the kind of person every life should have. Someone who can make you laugh, call you on your nonsense, and remind you who you are when you start to lose the thread. She has been fierce, honest, funny, and present through some of the hardest parts of my life. I would not be here without her. And then there's Tony. My Uncle Tony was a chaotic, loving gremlin in the best possible sense, and one of the best men I have ever known. When this story was still fragile, when it was only the beginning of a webcomic, or maybe a comic, or maybe nothing at all because fear was louder than hope. He helped me build the first bones. He met my imagination with delight instead of dismissal. He treated creativity as something alive, something worth protecting, feeding, and fighting for. When others might have asked me to make myself smaller, Tony pushed the other way. He told me in laughter and in faith that I did not need to snuff myself out to make other people comfortable. After he passed, I put the story away for years. Grief made it too painful to touch. But stories born from that kind of love do not die quietly. They wait. They deepen. They return larger than before. What was once going to be one small thing became a full saga. And when I came back to it, I realized Tony had never really left it. He is in every page, every pillar, every bright and strange little corner of this world. His chaotic love lives here still. If I hope anything for this story, it is not only that I enchant you, I hope it reaches you. I hope that if you have ever felt trapped inside of a life that did not fit, you feel less alone. I hope that if you have ever had to become yourself in pieces, you feel recognized. And I hope that if you've ever felt kept alive by the love of other people, steady, tender, fierce, or gloriously chaotic, you feel the echo of that here. This book was made from grief, longing, fear, persistence, and love. From a father's steadiness, from a wife's tenderness, from a sister's fierce honesty, from an uncle's beautiful chaos, from all the people who helped me keep going long enough to write it. So when you enter Saela, know that you are stepping into more than a city of gods, splendored and sanctioned truths. You are entering a world built from survival, from becoming, and from the people I love. With all my heart, Cameron Nichols Wren. Oh God, I didn't think I was gonna get emotional during this. For my Uncle Tony, the most chaotic, loving gremlin I have ever known. My champion, and one of the people who helped build the very first bones of this story. Thank you for believing in me when those ideas were still only fragile sparks, for cheering me on when others would have let the fire die, and for reminding me that creation is worth fighting for. Even after loss, your love remained. In the heart of this world, in the strength it took me to return to it, and in every page that followed. Your laughter, your mischief, and your wild, wonderful heart live on in these pages. This book carries pieces of you everywhere. Yeah. So, fun fact about today, guys. Not only is it my book's birthday, it's also Uncle Tony's birthday. God damn it, my camera's acting up again. 1 second, guys. My camera likes to be stupid. I'm sorry. Gives me a minute to fix my face, because, oh my God, that choked me up. I'm so sorry. I just need to fix a little bit of scuff here. I apologize. My camera is having an aneurysm, it would seem. What is going on here? Ha! Fixed it. Jesus. Okay, cool. Now you can see my face. Anyway, yeah, so that was the foreword and the dedication. But yeah, if any of you guys didn't know, it is the book's birthday, and it is also my late Uncle Tony's birthday, who this book is dedicated to. So when you read this, when you sit here and listen to the chapter we're about to read, whatever it is that you find in this book, I hope that you find either in this book, in your life, or whatever, I hope you find your Uncle Tony, your crazy kook who keeps you going for whatever reason he happens to find, you know? Alright, without further ado though, y'all came for a book signing and a book reading, not just watch me cry on stream like a big baby. Let me find my chapter here, because I'm just gonna pick my favorite chapter that I wanted to, like, the favorite chapter I wrote that I had the most fun with. I had fun with all of these chapters, don't get me wrong. But there's one chapter in particular that I am extra proud of, and I just have to figure out what page it is on. If we have time, I might read a second chapter, but that's only if. I have to find the page, I'm sorry. Nani?
Let's talk to Mom.
Ah.
I forgot my drink.
Ah.
And I was gonna show Mom the camera, because that hasn't happened yet.
I just have to find my page.
Fair enough. Also, the light looks so much better now.
Yeah, I had the auto balancing kept turning off for some reason.
Oh.
I have
That's
an itch on my leg. The lens cap?
No, I know it's attached.
The adjective or...
My blue bag.
I put it in there to get out of the way,
okay,
remember?
cool, thank you.
Okay, cool. So yeah, this particular chapter I had a lot of fun writing. For those who don't know, up until I was fully disabled, I used to work a lot of food service. So a lot of this book is kind of a love letter to food service workers, but the a lot of the stuff that happens in the Silver Thread Cafe is stuff that I actually dealt with, like, as a barista and as a server and as a cook and stuff like that. Like, all the crazy shit that happens in this cafe, I hate to say it, is stuff that I've actually witnessed in real life. So if it seems a little too real to believe, I promise, it's real. But we're gonna go ahead and get right into it. And so, Chapter 5, Pixie 1, Mr. Shitheel 0. Meanwhile, on the other side of Kyrandal, something else was coming to life. Beneath the yellow light of Solir, Saela's first sun, the awning of the brownstone corner cafe shone with silver morning dew. The droplets clung like tiny coins someone had forgotten to spend, catching the light and throwing it back in soft, stubborn glitter. A few wrought iron tables and chairs sat out on the patio behind a low wall of shrubs that had been coaxed into a polite, manicured hedge. Coaxed, not tamed. Nothing in Kyrandal ever stayed tamed for long. The city had a habit of growing where it pleased, like ivy with a degree in civil engineering. The sidewalk out front was already awake in layers. The ether rail line a block over hummed beneath the pavement like a sleeping dragon with a steady pulse. And I can't even read my own handwriting. It's so dark out here. I need to put my flashlight on. The lighting out here is not ideal. I apologize. There we go. Now I can see. The ether rail line a block over hummed beneath the pavement like a sleeping dragon with a steady pulse. And the ward lights mounted on the street lamps blinked their last night mode dimness away, brightening as Solir rose. A Levicar drifted past, its anti-gravity sigils purring in an expensive, well-fed way. A courier on a rune-assisted bicycle weaved between early commuters, a satchel bouncing against their hip, the bag marked with a little stitch emblem of governance that looked more like a threat than a logo. Someone else argued with a self-updating city notice board that was insisting their protest permit had expired retroactively, which was a sentence that should not have been legal in any universe with manners. Kyrandal didn't run on manners. Kyrandal ran on momentum. And tucked into one of its older corners, where brick met silver glass, and ivy met neon rune script, sat a cafe that had no business surviving this long, except that it had been built out of stubbornness and good espresso. A hand-painted sign hung over the mahogany and silver glass door. It was nothing super fancy. A slightly uneven rectangle of wood, tarnished chains, and chipped faded gold paint that seemed storms, summer heat, and the occasional thrown pebble from a drunk college kid who thought making the sign swing counted as flirting with destiny. The Silver Thread Cafe. The paint being gold was, and always would be, a point of contention. Many times, Saren commented the paint should be silver to match the name of the cafe. It made the most sense to him. He had, in Saren fashion, produced lists, color theory charts, a small dramatic slideshow made of glamored light that hovered in the kitchen while Cecil ate cereal and pretended not to be impressed. Cecil had listened. Cecil had nodded. Cecil had taken the last big bite of his cereal with his almost certainty of a man who was about to commit a crime against reason. Then Cecil had done what Cecil does best. He explained that the gold paint was the point and gave multiple reasons as to why it would bring more people in. It's a conversation starter. Gold fits my vibe better. Saren had glared at him long enough to melt ice and maybe frighten a minor god. Then, eventually, relented, on the condition he got a say in other aspects. The stage, for example. The sound system. The exact placement of the ward lines woven into the ceiling beams so the place didn't accidentally become a summoning circle on open mic night. Cecil had agreed, because Cecil loved two things in this world with his whole chest: being right and making room. Inside, the Silver Thread Cafe was still in its pre-opening half-light. Chairs were stacked belly up on tables, legs in the air like a room full of Beatles playing dead. The floor was drying in streaks where someone had just finished mopping. the water catching Solier's light and turning it briefly into a shallow, shining river. The air smelled like yesterday's espresso and cleaning solution, and a faint ghost of cinnamon, as if the building itself had a memory of pastries and refused to let go. The tables scattered about were a mix of dwarven craft, elven, devilkin, even some goblin-crafted pieces made from reclaimed car bumpers or recycled modern art that had ended up in a scrapyard. None of it matched. None of it needed to. The mismatched furniture was part of the point. The silver thread was not a place you came to look like you had your life together. It was a place where you came when you did not. The coffee bar itself was a beautiful red granite with silver details throughout, the counter edges inlaid with thin protective runes that shimmered faintly when you ran your hand over them. Several espresso machines made of copper sat like squat, temperamental beasts along the back, surrounded by various cups, pitchers, mixing tools, and whatever else had ended up tossed up in the previous day's rush. On the wall behind the bar, a chalkboard menu stretched wide with the day's offerings written in neat script. The chalk enchanted so the letters never smudged, even when the air got humid. Beneath it, a smaller board read, "No judgment, no questions, no just smile more. Yes, we have oat milk." Someone had added, in even smaller writing, "Yes, we also have therapy. It's called coffee and a soft chair." Near the back wall, there was a nook with a small stage surrounded by a handful of tables and chairs. That was Saren's request, after he had listened to Cecil go on for an hour about the color of the paint sign. Once a week, he played live shows with his bands there. There were poetry slams, open mic nights, karaoke when Saren wasn't there, because Saren believed karaoke should be illegal unless you could carry a tune, and a basic respect for the concept of mercy. The stage was small, but the wards around it were not. There were containment runes set beneath the boards so that devilkin with too much emotion couldn't accidentally set the curtains on fire. There were dampening charms in the ceiling so a goblin drummer's enthusiasm wouldn't crack the silver glass windows. There was a subtle glamour woven into the air that made people feel just slightly like they could take up space without being punished for it. A safe space where everyone had a voice. That was the dream the two had when they met at that protest 60 years ago. It wasn't a romantic meeting in the way ballads liked. There had been rain and shouting, and someone had thrown a rotten tomato that hit Saren square in the shoulder. Cecil had laughed so hard he nearly choked, then offered Saren his scarf with the solemnity of a knight offering a sword. Saren had been furious. Cecil had been delighted. They ended up standing shoulder to shoulder in a crowd that smelled like damp fabric and righteous anger, yelling at a line of night constabulary drones that hovered like fat metal insects. Cecil had yelled louder. Saren had yelled smarter. Between them, they had managed to get 3 people out of handcuffs and 1 idiot off a street lamp he climbed and then immediately regretted. Afterwards, Cecil had said, "We should open a cafe." Saren said, "That's not a solution to systemic oppression." Cecil had said, "No, but it's a place where people can breathe long enough to keep fighting." Saren had reluctantly agreed. And Cecil would tell anyone who'd listen. Many regulars could recite the speech in their sleep, but they wouldn't change it for the world. A safe space where every voice could be heard. Today was taken a little too literally, though, as a tiny, high-pitched shriek of frustration rang out from behind the espresso machines. Bean knew something was wrong the moment the coffee tasted anxious. Technically, coffee didn't have emotions. That was what Saren always said when Bean tried to explain it. But the espresso shot hissing into the tiny porcelain demitasse carried a jitter that had nothing to do with caffeine, and the steam curling up from the milk pitcher felt unsettled, like the air before a thunderstorm, or before a raid. Bean didn't have a formal term for what she did. Pixies had plenty of words for it, most of them untranslatable into anything that wasn't sung. Humans called it synthetic magic, like that made it less weird. Saren called it Bean being Bean, and then made a face like he was trying not to smile. To Bean, it was simple. The world had flavors. Not literal, always, but close enough that her tongue knew the difference between a good day and a bad one before anyone else did. Cinnamon tasted like comfort and secrets. Burnt sugar tasted like lies. Vanilla tasted like hope you were trying to pretend wasn't hope. And anxiety? Anxiety tasted like coffee that had been left on a warming plate too long. Bitter, vibrating, like your teeth wanted to run away. Tiny cicada-like wings, reflecting crystalline hues of jade and amber, beat at the frosty of a hummingbird on red step after a 2-day bender. Another high-pitched shriek of frustration erupted from the pixie, her aquamarine hair frazzled and mussed. She grabbed a mixing spoon, wielding it like a tiny weapon, and thwacked it hard against the front of the offending machine, each smack punctuated with a miniature enraged battle cry. "Cooperate!" She hissed at the copperite beast as if it understood language and shame. "We are not doing this today. We are not spiraling before open. We are a professional establishment." The espresso machine answered by spitting steam like a cat offended by a bath. Bean hovered up to eye level with it, hands on her hips, wings buzzing in a low, irritated hum. Outside, morning traffic hummed past under a sky the color of cold tea. The enchanted thread stitched through the front curtains caught the weak sun and made it look more generous than it was, silver filaments glinting like spider silk strung between worlds. "Don't you start," she muttered at the portafilter as the shot finished pulling. "We talked about this. No spiraling before open." The coffee ignored her, as coffee always did, but the crema swirled in a way she did not like storm fronts of bitter and sweet colliding on the surface. Bean leaned in and sniffed because sometimes smell told you what taste couldn't. The shot smelled fine, technically, on paper, if you were the kind of person who thought emotions could be put on paper. But her tongue told her the truth anyway. Something was wrong. Bean blew a curl of green hair out of her eyes and glanced toward the back entrance, hoping to see a familiar silhouette that, annoyingly, she had never actually seen. By now, according to Marcus's very detailed running commentary over the last semester, there should have been the clatter of someone dropping their keys, the muttered apologies of a girl who insisted that being only 10 minutes early counted as being late for lunch dates, the girl who had been living the student life vicariously through her vampy bestie, as Marcus fondly called himself. In Bean's head, the not-quite-real girl, Marcus's favorite topic and worst-kept secret, would tumble in at this hour, hair still damp from a too-fast shower, ears pink from the cold outside, backpack slung over one shoulder like it might make a break for it. She'd shrug on an apron like an armor, nod it twice, and beam at Bean's morning taste test as the pixie had handed her liquid sunlight and not just a latte. Chronically late, Marcus had said. Oh no, I missed a spot, I'm sorry. Handed her liquid sunlight and not just a latte. Bean had never met her. She knew the shape of her, though, in the way you know a character from a show you've never actually watched, pieced together from people's breathless recaps. Chronically late, Marcus had said, with a fondness he tried and failed to hide. Compassionate to a fault, the kind of girl who'd give her last clean hoodie to someone shivering in the cold at a bus stop and show up to a class in a borrowed shirt with someone else's coffee stain on it. Charitable, soft, the first to volunteer, the last to complain except about her alarms. Those she cursed like a sailor every morning. A kind, overextended, stubbornly hopeful high elf with too many obligations and not enough sleep. In Bean's mind, she lived right there, in the doorway that was currently, infuriatingly, empty. The staff door at the back of the cafe remained stubbornly shut. Bean stared at it for 3 full seconds, then turned her frustration back to the espresso machine, because at least the espresso machine had the decency to be physically present whilst ruining her morning. "Okay," she told the espresso machine, the empty tables, in the enchanted tip jar, currently displaying a scrolling message about underpaid barista goddess, insert offerings. "It's fine. Totally fine. Marcus's favorite disaster elf just overslept. Normal mortal things. This is not, repeat, not about the way he left last night looking like someone kicked his heart down the stairs, and totally not about him leaving me to open alone because he's a sack of unicorn crap." The tip jar's message blinked, then politely changed to, "Remember, violence is illegal. Tips are not." Alright, we have an ad break coming up, folks, so we're going to take a break so that those of you in the ad break don't miss anything. While we wait for the ads to be over, those of you who don't have to watch ads, any questions so far, comments, anything like that? If you have questions, you can feel free to pop them in the chat and we'll answer them at the end of it if we need to. But we have about a minute or so ad break coming up, so we're just going to take a quick 5-er, catch our breath here. Yeah, how you guys are you guys having a good evening so far? I hope you are. I know I am. Despite my anxiety. There's a lot of that. A lot of anxiety. So much anxiety right now. I don't look it, but I am so fucking anxious right now. But yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying it so far. And if this ad break never shows up, I might just say screw it and continue on with the reading. If this ad break never actually shows up. Do. I need to turn off. Okay. I have to adjust my camera so it cools off a little better because it keeps threatening to overheat, and I don't want to replace it because it's a really nice razor. There we go. I just had to adjust the ice pack we're using to keep the camera from melting. Okay, so we have about 60 seconds for ads. This is your chance to ask any questions about the book or about the characters so far, anything like that. I'm honestly, like I said, I am over the moon to share this book with you guys. I never thought this would get published, and the fact that I'm actually sitting here reading this to you, it doesn't feel real. Not gonna lie, it still feels like I'm gonna wake up tomorrow and be like, oh, it's only April. You know? But either way, I'm so glad to be able to share this with you guys. About 30 seconds we'll be coming back. I wish my herd husbands were here. One lives in Europe, though, and the other one's in Florida, so I have no idea if they're even awake. Oh, I know Sam. He's usually awake, but he's probably busy. I don't want to bother him. Alright, we're going to go ahead and find our place again. And we're just going to go ahead and pick up at the last sentence we read off, just as a way to keep our flow going. It's fine. Totally fine. Marcus's favorite disaster elf just overslept. Normal mortal thing. This is not, repeat not, about the way he left last night looking like someone kicked his heart down the stairs, and totally not about him leaving me open alone because he's a sack of unicorn crap. The tip jar's message blinked, then politely changed to, remember, violence is illegal. Tips are not. Bean scowled at it. Don't you start too. The jar responded by flashing, I live to serve, unlike someone. Bean made an obscene gesture with both hands, which was impressive given her hands were the size of a sugar cube. The bell over the front door jingled, and almost inaudible over the sound of Bean going another 4 rounds with the coffee machine and her dreaded spoon. Bean spun in midair, hope bursting through her chest like pop soda when she saw a movement out of the corner of her eye, and deflated when it was Saren. Damp-haired and yawning, a scarf looped around his neck, and a messenger bag slung crosswise over his torso. His silver-white hair was still half tamed from the shower, ears peeking through. There was a crease on his cheek from a couch cushion he obviously hadn't moved from for quite a long time. He paused just inside the door, eyes sweeping the empty cafe, then landing on her. The look on his face said, we need to talk, before he even spoke. Morning trouble, he said, shutting the door with his heel and flipping the lock. The little close sign on the glass wobbled, then settled. Floor looks good. You been here long? Since first dawn, Bean said, which in pixie time meant she'd been awake since the sun had only begun thinking about rising. Some of us respect the sacredness of prep, unlike certain vampires who think time is a social construct. Saren's mouth quirked in the faintest smile, like humor was a muscle he had to remember how to use. And my coffee machine? He leaned just enough to see the dented front panel. Another tiny squeaky, angry grumble came from Bean, but the machine itself also made a sound that could only be described as offended. Saren sighed like a man accepting that he lived in a house full of creatures with opinions. Bean. It started it, she said immediately. It's an espresso machine. It has attitude. It is a machine. It is a cursed copper goblin, Bean corrected, hovering closer as if prepared to defend herself in a court of law. I am doing you a favor. I am teaching it humility. Saren huffed a faint laugh and dropped his bag behind the counter. Up close, Bean could see the tired drag at the corner of his eyes, the way his fingers flexed once like they were trying to shake off the echoes of the morning. There were faint shadows under his eyes that had nothing to do with the lighting charms. Bean's bravado softened without her permission. Marcus? She asked, all pretense falling away under the weight of one word. Asleep, Saren said. Finally. Cecil threatened to hide his shoes if he got up again. Bean's shoulders sagged. So that's why he isn't hovering over the grinder like a haunted gargoyle. You do know he's a vampire, right? Saren pointed out, rifling through his bag and pulling out a half-eaten croissant with a smear of hazelnut and peanut butter on it. They make charms for that. Not in our budget, Saren said, taking a bite as if chewing could patch the hole the night had left in him. You know the drill. Unless it's raining, Marcus only works nights. Rude, Bean muttered. She landed on the counter, bare feet tapping against the grain of the wood, wings folding tight, the way pixies did when they were trying to look casual about caring. And the girl? Saren hesitated long enough for the worry in Bean's chest to sharpen into something with teeth. Safe, he said, shaken, at the bungalow. Cecil's with her. Bean exhaled so hard she almost fell backward into the pastry case. Oh, thank the pillars. I thought She cut herself off with a flap of her wings. Nope, not finishing that sentence. She swallowed, then tried again with her usual brand of humor, because humor was how you kept fear from chewing through your ribs. So, she's okay? Like, crying into aggressively judgmental blankets okay? Or we need to call in a priest and a structural mage okay? Somewhere between, Saren said dryly. He leaned on the counter, rubbing a hand over his face. There was a fight, the kind that leaves marks even if nobody throws a punch. Bean's mind immediately supplied images, assembled out of every story Marcus had ever spilled on over closing time dishes. The way he described her smile, too bright when she talked about family obligations like someone had wired the expression and left it there too long. The way his hands had sketched her in the air, shoulders curling in when she thought no one was looking. The way his voice had gone quiet, almost dangerous when she flinched at certain sounds. Doors slamming, glass breaking, footsteps in hallways that didn't belong to her. Bean had never seen any of that. But she'd watched Marcus's face as he described it, and that was almost worse. Her father? Bean asked, even though she already knew the shape of that word in Marcus's mouth. Half curse, half swallowed. Saren's expressions flickered through several things at once. Annoyance, protectiveness, something darker and quieter that made the air over the counter feel heavier. Let's just say her family's tower probably has an interesting evening, and an interesting morning. He did not say which family. Marcus never did. Saren didn't either. It was one of the few things they'd both been stubborn about. Which meant Bean, who knew the exact color of the girl's favorite charity hoodie, soft, gray, worn at the cuffs, and how many times she hit snooze, minimum 3, maximum catastrophic, did not know the name that sat on her birth records. She hated that. Not because she needed gossip, but because secrecy tasted like old pennies on her tongue. Secrecy tasted like people getting hurt and everyone pretending it was normal. Saren straightened, forcing his tone lighter because he was good at that. Musicians learned how to keep playing even when their hands shook. Which is their problem, he said. Ours is making sure she has somewhere to land where she can breathe again. Outside, a Levitt car whooshed past, wards purring. Somewhere down the street, someone was still arguing with city notice boards over permits. A newspaper hawker's enchanted stand crackled to life. Headlines flickering and shifting script that Bean resolutely did not look at yet. The anxious taste in the coffee made more sense now. Bean hopped back into the air, wings flaring, shedding a faint trail of glittering dust that the ward charms in the ceiling politely vacuumed up before it hit the floor. Okay, she said briskly, because if she didn't get brisk, she might get emotional, and emotions were inconvenient before opening. Right. Triage plan. I'll do the opening solo. You take 10 to inhale something approximating breakfast, and then we figure out we can smuggle her some cinnamon rolls. Sound good? Saren's mouth curved, a real smile this time. Faint but genuine. You're assuming Cecil hasn't already started baking. He emotionally copes via carbs, Bean said. Of course he has. She zipped back to the machine, flipped a switch, and listened to the comforting roar of steam. The machine still tasted anxious, but at least it was functioning. Barely. And when she finally shows up here, instead of living in your boyfriend's monologues being added, I'm putting up the no rich dads allowed sign. You can't just ban an entire socioeconomic category, Bean. Watch me. Saren made a sound that might have been laughter if he wasn't so tired it hurt. He drifted behind the bar, set his croissant down, and started doing the quiet practice motions of opening. Checking the grinders, calibrating the temperature runes, testing the milk frother with the solemn seriousness of a man preparing for war. Bean watched him for a second longer than she meant to. She liked Saren. She liked Cecil too, even if Cecil had once tried to knit her a tiny sweater and Bean had nearly died of indignation. They were good people. The kind of people the city tried to chew up and failed because they had teeth too. And this girl, this invisible high elf with too much kindness and not enough sleep, had somehow found her way into their orbit. Bean tried to imagine her walking through that door. Not from Marcus's descriptions this time, but for real. Would she look anything like the version in Bean's head? Would she be taller? Shorter? Would she laugh the way Marcus's eyes did when he talked about her? Or would that be another thing that he edited to protect her? Bean shook the thought away before it could turn into a feeling. Feelings were how you ended up caring too much about people you hadn't even met. Still, the coffee tasted anxious. Which meant the world outside was already starting to sharpen its knives. Marcus disappeared into the back for a moment. Oh my god, I have a typo in my own book. That is not supposed to be Marcus. Oh my Jesus. I'll just have to... I don't know how I'm gonna fix that. Crap. Well, shit. Well, there's a typo in my book. I need to make note of that so I can go back and fix that. Page... My friend who did my editing apparently did not do as thorough as a job as I'd hoped. I can fix that later. It's fine. Oh. Saren disappeared into the back for a moment, probably to grab something, possibly to breathe, and Bean busied herself with things that made the cafe feel like itself. She darted between tables, tugging chairs down from their upside-down perches. She straightened the little bowl of sugar packets and the jar of stir sticks. She checked the stage, ran a tiny hand over the mics to make sure it wouldn't collapse mid-poem, and flicked one of the ward signals under the boards until it hummed contentedly. The silver thread wasn't just a cafe, it was a patch in the world's coat where the seam didn't itch. People came here carrying all kinds of things. Some carried textbooks with too many tabs and not enough sleep. Some carried bruises that called clumsiness and smiles they wore like armor. Some carried hunger that wasn't about food. Some carried grief they pretended they weren't carrying because grief was embarrassing in public. Bean couldn't fix all of it. But she could hand someone a drink that tasted like warmth and let them sit without being asked what was wrong. It mattered. The bell over the door chimed again. Bean's wings flared instinctively, her body reacting before her brain did. The first customer of the morning stepped in, bringing a swirl The first customer of the morning stepped in, bringing a swirl of damp air and a faint echo of distant, half-heard gossip from the city beyond. Not the girl. Of course, not the girl. This was a goblin in a patched jacket with grease on their fingers, a tool belt slung low, eyes half-lidded with sleep. They gave Bean a nod like they knew her, which they did. Regular. Morning, the goblin said, voice rough. Y'all open? Bean plastered on her brightest skin. We're spiritually open. That's not how commerce works. Don't tell Cecil you said that, she shot back. He'll start reciting capitalism critiques at you and we'll lose 30 minutes. The goblin snorted, stepping up to the counter. Large drip, extra strong, and whatever that cinnamon thing you had is yesterday. Or whatever that cinnamon thing you had yesterday. We had 7 cinnamon things yesterday, Bean said. Please narrow your suffering. The one that made me briefly consider forgiving my landlord. Ah, the forgiveness spiral, Bean nodded solemnly. Saren reappeared from the back with a dish towel over his shoulder and the look of a man who had slept approximately 1 hour and was now choosing violence in the form of caffeine. Mornin', he echoed, voice smooth but tired. The goblin's eyes flicked up to him, reading the exhaustion like a headline. You look like the city chewed you up. Saren's smile didn't reach his eyes. The city tries. Saren's gaze slid. Oh my god, I can't fucking talk. Trying that again. I am so sorry. I don't read my own stuff out loud usually. Usually I read other people's books out loud. Saren's smile didn't reach his eyes. The city tries. Something happened, the goblin asked, not prying so much as offering, the way people did here. questioning with an exit ramp. Saren's gaze slid briefly toward the back staff door, toward the hallway that led to the tiny office, toward the part of the cafe that felt like a boundary between stories. Just family stuff, he said, and the goblin nodded like they understood. In Kyrendal, family stuff could mean anything from a bad argument to a curse to a knife. Yeah, the goblin said. Well, watch the newsstands today. They're already doing that flicker thing. Bean's grin stayed put, but her stomach dropped. She pretended to fuss with the milk picture. What flicker thing? The something juicy happened flicker thing, the goblin said. The stands get all excited. Headlines keep rewriting themselves, people keep gathering. It's annoying. Bean's wings buzzed once, sharp, annoying like traffic, or annoying like someone's about to get hurt. The goblin shrugged. Depends on who you are, I guess. Saren's jaw tightened, almost imperceptibly. Bean could taste the anxiety spiking now, sharp as burnt sugar. The goblin paid, took their coffee, and left. The doorbell chimed behind them like punctuation. Saren exhaled. Bean leaned closer, lowering her voice. You think they already know? Saren didn't answer. He reached for the grinder, adjusted it by a fraction because doing something with his hands was easier than saying the thing out loud. And then softly, in this city, something happens in a tower full of servants and skills and in a tower full of servants and silks and secrets people know before breakfast. Bean's wings folded tighter. Outside, the newspaper hawker's enchanted stand crackled again, the shifting script brightening and dimming like a heartbeat. Bean forced herself not to look. Not yet. Because if she looked, she might say a name. And names had power. Instead, she focused on the cafe, on the hum of the machines, on the familiar rhythm of making something warm and putting it in someone's hands. The second customer came in, then a third. A tired-looking student with a bag full of books. A devil came in with a lanyard and a hospital badge who ordered tea instead of coffee and thanked Bean like tea was medicine. An older elf with paint on their hands who asked if the stage was still open on Blood's Day because they had a poem they'd been working on for 3 years and were finally brave enough to read. Bean served them all with practiced ease of someone who learned how to be sharp and soft at the same time. And under all of it, the coffee tasted anxious. Saren moved like a man split in two. Half of him was here wiping the counter, pulling shots, saying morning in that calm cafe voice that made customers feel like the world was not currently on fire. The other half of him was somewhere else. In a bungalow. In a living room with mismatched blankets. In the aftermath of a fight that had left invisible bruises on a girl Bean hadn't met, but was already somehow invested in. Bean caught Saren staring at the staff door once, then twice. She didn't comment. Instead, she drifted up to the chalkboard menu and added in tiny pixie handwriting no one would notice unless they were looking closely. Today's special, runaway friendly cinnamon rolls. No questions asked. The letters glowed faintly, then settled. Saren glanced at it, then her, and for a moment his expression softened into something like gratitude. Cecil's gonna cry, he murmured. Bean shrugged. Good. It hydrates him. Saren made a sound that might have been a laugh again, but it came out tired. Towel tossed over his shoulder. A resounding metal thwack rang out. Bean, you can't prove shit! Outside, the city kept moving. The lever cars kept whooshing. The notice board kept arguing. The newspaper stands kept crackling. And somewhere across Kyrendal, in a tower full of cracked glass and careful eyes, people were already starting to rehearse the story they would tell about the missing Amaranth girl. Here, in the warm, cluttered heart of the Silver Thread, the people who actually loved her, one of them without even having met her, were getting ready to write her a different one. And that is Chapter 5 of the Saela Saga, Book 1, Threads of Silver. So, be honest, guys, what'd you think? Yes, I'm aware that post-printing, there's a typo. My editor, one of my buddies is an editor and looked through it for me, and she said it all looked fine. It was one that probably slipped both of our radars. It didn't register, so I'll have to fix that in post. Luckily, there's still time to fix that for some of the orders coming out, but if you are purchasing the current version on Amazon, be aware there's a minor typo in Chapter 5. But yeah, no, the floor is now open. If we look at our handy-dandy schedule that I actually made here after the chapter reading, we are here for this is the reflection/dedication moment, and then I did the live signing early, but that's because we were waiting for people to get in here. And yeah, so while you guys come up with some questions to ask, I will go ahead and give you a little bit about what went into writing a little bit more of this. I'll give you some more info on that. So as you guys can tell, like I said, this a lot of people have said this is very much a love letter to working food service, which it is. There's no, I never pretended there wasn't a love letter to food service in here, but I did understand that not everyone would necessarily understand that, but it's also more of like people who haven't worked food service very well or haven't worked it at all don't really understand the bonds that you build with fellow food service workers. So I based a lot of the characters. So Bean is actually based off of my very lovely sister-in-law who runs the Dice and Destinies D&D / Daggerheart / everything channel. She's a wonderful human being. She is such a sweet person. She has such a big heart, and I love her to death. Saren is low-key based off of actually our very good friend Bairn, my second herd husband, and that was unintentional, but the more I got to know Bairn as a friend and as a close companion of sorts, the more I realized I was putting him into the dark elf husband that is Saren, who co-owns the cafe. Cecil is a lovely dwarf that you will all meet, who I hope you guys come to love as much as I do. He was actually based off of a very dear friend of mine back from New Mexico, where I'm originally from, who he and his husband own a amazing gay bar, and when my own family disowned me for a bunch of stuff, they took me in, and it was so wonderful. And like everybody in this book, everybody in here is based off of somebody that either had an impacting, lasting memory on me or impacted my life in some way that changed the course of everything I was doing. So know that when you pick up this book and you read those first pages, you are taking a glimpse into my life. And I hope that you guys can find a character to latch onto in here and enjoy as much as I enjoyed writing them. Because honestly, it wasn't until I started putting everything together over the weekend, getting ready for the book release here, that I realized just how much of my history and everything that I went through as a kid into this. So yeah, we'll take a few minutes if maybe it has any questions, anything like that. It can be about anything. It can be about chapters that you've read. It can be about characters you're interested in, anything like that. Otherwise, let me just pop our link here. Why is my link unpinned? Why? It's not supposed to do that. Let me find the link real quick. If you would like to order a future copy of a signed book, the link is right here for you. I'm going to go ahead and pin that. I don't know why it became unpinned. That is the form if you would like to order a signed copy and you missed out on the pre-order. For those on Instagram, I have not forgotten about you guys. I have too many screens going. I will be posting that link for the order form and everything in my story in the next day or so if you guys are interested. Otherwise, we're actually doing pretty good on time. It took a lot less time than I thought. I also expected to be signing a lot more books, but they haven't got me my paperbacks yet. But yeah, no, I mean, that pretty much covers it. Yeah, it's my book is out. I really appreciate all you guys for being with me on this journey and for supporting me as long as you have. I couldn't have done any of these without all of you guys. Really, it means the world that you've been here with me through all of this. I'm giving it a few minutes in case, because there's always a time delay. I don't want anybody to miss out on the chance to ask a question or something just because there's a delay in the stream, you know? But, yeah, I'll give it like 5-10 minutes. If not, then we'll just call it, because I have to break all this down and carry it all back home. Also, Cal, I see you there. I love you. I'm so excited to send you your copy. Like, I've been so excited to send this to you ever since I put the message in your Discord that I finished the final chapter. No, you're fine. I've been watching you through the window, honey. Believe it or not, I have been paying attention. Yeah, okay, my tablet's overheating. I need to call it on here. Sorry, Insta. Gotta call it because my tablet's overheating. Yeah, any questions? I mean, comments? If you guys have any critique, anything like that, save for the typo, because that's something that genuinely slipped past me, and I'm so mad that I didn't catch it. I'm so mad that I didn't catch that typo. And it's a huge one, too. It's not like I could have missed it by just, like, you know, oh, I put an A instead of an E. No, I put the entire wrong character's name. I feel so smart. Anyway, questions, comments, anything whatsoever, or as my old reading and writing club used to say, any thorns and roses, if you will. Oh yeah, no, like, I've actually watched interviews with Stephen King, who's one of my favorite writers, because one of my all-time favorite books, like, actually one of my all-time favorite books is Stephen King's Needful Things. Mostly because I love the idea of, like, the devil and, like, the devil's in the details kind of stories and stuff like that. But even he admitted, there's been a few books he's put out where he was just like, yeah, I put a wrong name and I just said screw it because I didn't feel like fixing it. And apparently it's a collector's item now, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, okay, yeah, cool. If Stephen King can get away with it, I can get away with it. Plus, it's my first book. I've never done this before, so... Yeah, I mean, I guess if there's no questions, comments, critiques, anything like that, I will go ahead and call it here. I was going to do an after party thing, but after the amount of stress and everything we had to get everything set up and how long it's going to take us to break everything down, I will probably be doing the after party this weekend. Probably the same time that I do the signs for the paperbacks. They should be here in the next day or two. It's my supplier, unfortunately, I ordered them 2 weeks ago and they didn't get them out to me in time. In fact, they didn't start printing my paperbacks until Saturday. So I'm a little irritated at them. I'm going to have a strong word with the peoples who have the prime in their name, if you will. But yeah, no, I'm actually really excited, Cal. So there's a character I unintentionally based off of you who will be making her debut in the next book, actually. It was completely unintentional. I was reading through some ideas that I was working on for the second book, and like this character unintentionally just like I was reading this just like, wait a minute, that's a conversation holy shit, I wrote cow into my book. You will also get a chance to meet my other herd husband in the book. For context, Cal, when you get to this character, you will know exactly who it is. All I'm going to say is their name is Jax, Jax. If you're one of my beta readers, you know who that is, and you know who Sam is, you now see why that character is the way they are. But no, like, I mean it, Cal. You're amazing. You're one of the reasons I actually sat down and, like, put everything into this book. You were the one who convinced me to finally say screw it and actually do it. So I wanted to find a way to thank you, and what better way than to immortalize you in the very thing you helped me create. Alright guys, well, since it doesn't seem like we have any Q&A for today, I will probably host a Q&A session later on if there's enough demand for it, because I know there's going to be a lot of questions after this book. I was not able to cover a lot of the subplot stuff in this book just because there's so much world building that had to happen. Like, there's so much setting building for the second book that had to happen that I wasn't able to include all the stuff I needed to for this world. So I'll be hosting a Q&A later on, probably in a couple months. You guys have a great night. Thank you so much for everything, and the Saela Saga Book 1, Threads of Silver, is now available on Amazon for order. It comes in Kindle ebook, paperback, and hardcover. So yeah, I'll see you guys soon, and I'll let you know when I start working on book 2. Also, please go follow a digital cow. She is amazing and wonderful and deserves all the love. And let me find a raid target real quick, because we need to keep the good vibes going. We don't just stream and quit. No, we spread the love. We spread the love. Oh my God, Diva! Nope, we're going to Diva. We're gonna raid out to Diva. Ah, it's so loud out here. Oh my God, I need to get inside before the neighbors hate me. Oh God. Alright guys, we're gonna raid out to Diva. Railing raid, we come bearing the words of the new book and glitter and cookies. There is our raid message, folks. Please be sure to give Diva all of our love when we get there. She is amazing. She is currently playing Date Everything and is helping raise money for the Paradox Opera, so please consider donating. They are an amazing charity. They do great work, and I will see you guys in the next stream. Bye. I love you all. Thank you so much for making this reality. I'm gonna go cry now.